Job must be evil because he's being punished. He's done something wrong. This is the school of thought that comes from these three friends, now that we know this. Bildad's advice is completely accepted. Job actually expands on everything that Bildad says, and ultimately he says, even if I could bring my defense to Hashem, who is the person that's going to represent me? Who has the authority to require that God comply? Job acknowledges that he doesn't understand all of God's way, but that's not the point. He's still looking at God. Zophar, who is the third friend, this is a guy who knows all of the things that need to be known. Zophar promises that Job is evil. In chapter 11, he explains to Job, let the hollow man acquire a heart. And he says, let the wild ass be reborn as a man. Job, you're a hollow wild ass of a man. I don't know what this strategy is. Beautifully, and in such a magnificent way, Job responds to this outpouring of compassion and this incredible demonstration of kindness and love and understanding by asking his friends who know everything that there is to know and who have all the answers. He says, gosh, man, would you guys be willing to put your hand on your mouth and that way not speak anymore ever, please? All right, so we have men of influence. We have men of power. The people of the community are going to be looking at these guys and saying, yeah, man, these guys, they've figured something out. These are the tools that the Satan has used to attempt to provoke Job into blaspheming. This is what we know so far about Job. Number one, he is holding on to whatever it is that he has as his understanding. These guys that know everything, they are not convincing him. Now, the irony is that Job is the one who's right. Job is confident. He's extremely confident in what he has as his understanding of his position with God. We know that this is a test. Job has no idea that this is a test. He simply knows that God has rejected his burnt offerings. However, Job is saying to himself, God still exists. God's still real. He's still pointing to God. Just sort of like this is an interesting thing. No blaspheming though. Test or not, Job doesn't seem to care. He doesn't even seem to be influenced by the fact that this is a test. He's holding on to the belief that this is a thing that's happening and he is enduring through it. And these people who are trying to help him are simply wrong. Okay, so consider this in chapter 13, around verse 17. Job is essentially pleading for God to illuminate his errors to him. He's saying, God, I don't know. Tell me. There is no high priest. There's no other person who is praying on his behalf. Job himself is crying out, asking these questions. Hashem says, this is my servant. So I guess you could say that it is the right thing for Job to do, to cry out to Hashem for an explanation of the events of his life. So nearly the remainder of this book is going to be about how these really rich, powerful, well-educated people who know everything about Hashem will be discussing a situation with a penniless, shameful sinner. So let's see how it happens. Thank you for listening. The NQE is out. Job 15. Eliphaz the Temanite then spoke up and said, should a wise man respond with blustery knowledge or fill his belly with the east wind? Should he argue with unavailing expressions or with words that do no good? So too, you have undermined awe and have diminished prayer before God. For your sinfulness teaches your mouth. You should have chosen the language of the clever. Let your own mouth condemn you, not I. Let your own lips testify against you. Were you born before Adam or created before the hills? Are you privy to God's counsel? Have you diminished wisdom from everyone else and taken it all for yourself? What do you know that we do not know? What do you understand that is beyond us? Even the white-haired, even the aged are among us, more advanced in age than your father. Do you deem inadequate God's consolations, the bounty he had graciously granted you? What does your heart teach you? What do your eyes intimate? That you turn your bluster toward God and bring such words out of your mouth. What is a human being that he might be vindicated? Can one born of woman ever be considered righteous? Behold, he cannot have faith even in his holy beings, and the hosts of heaven are not pure in his eyes. Surely it is so for the loathsome and tainted one, man, who drinks iniquity like water. Let me tell you something. Listen to me. I will recount what I have seen. Wise men say it. It was not withheld from their fathers. To them alone the land was given. No stranger passed among them. All the days of the wicked he is anguished. The number of years allotted the oppressor. Sounds of terror are in his ears. When he is at peace, the robber befalls him. He should not believe that he will return from the darkness, for he is destined for the sword. He wanders about for food. Where is it? He realizes that the day of darkness is ready at hand. Distress and travail terrify him. They surround him like a king destined for the flames of Gehenna. For he turned his hand against God and tried to overpower the Almighty. He charges at him with an upright neck within the massive bulk of his shield. When he covers his face with fat and forms rolls of blubber on his loins, when he dwells in destroyed cities, in deserted houses that had been destined to become heaps, he will not be rich. His wealth will not endure, and their aspirations will not touch the ground. He will not shake off darkness. A flame will dry up his tender branches, and it will be gone by the breath of his mouth. He who is misled by nothingness does not believe that nothingness will be his final reward. He will be stunted before his time, and his canopy will not flourish. He will scatter his unripe fruit like a vine, and shed his blossoms like an olive tree. For the hypocrite's clan will be forlorn. Fire will consume the tents of bribery. Conceiving iniquity and bearing destruction, their belly prepares deceit. Job 16. Job then spoke up and said, I have heard many such things. You are all worthless consolers. Is there an end to words of bluster? What compels you to answer? I am as able to speak as you. Were you in my place, I would compose words over you and shake my head over you. I would encourage you with my mouth, and the movement of my lips would stop. If I speak, my pain will not cease, and if I keep silent, what will leave me? Oh, how it has wearied me. You shocked my entire clan into silence. You wizened me. It has become a witness against me. My weakened body has stood up against me and has given testimony to my face. His anger has torn at me. He has despised me. He has gnashed his teeth at me. My foe casts barbed glances at me. They opened their mouths against me. They contemptuously struck my cheeks. They joined in thronging against me. God has handed me over to an evildoer, and he consoles me through the wicked. I was once serene, but he broke me into pieces. He grasped me by my neck and mangled me, and he stood me up as a target. His archers surrounded me. He sliced open my kidneys without mercy. He spilled my bile to the ground. He attacked me with one attack upon another. He charged at me like a warrior. I have sewn sackcloth for my scabs and sullied my countenance with dirt. My face is wrinkled from weeping. Death's shadows are upon my eyelids, but for no iniquity in my hands, and my prayers were virtuous. O earth, do not conceal my blood. Let there not be a place for my screams. Even now, my witness is in heaven. My attester is on high. Oh, my orators, my friends, it is to God that my eyes shed tears. If only a man could argue with God as a human being with his fellow. For my allotted years will come, and then I will embark on a path from which I will never return. Job 17. My spirit is devastated. My days have rushed by. Graves await me, except that these mocking men accompany me, and my eyes are constantly on their provocations. Give me your hand. Be my guarantor. Who then will shake my hand? For you have blocked their hearts from intelligence, so you will not be exalted by them. Glibly each talks with his fellows. May the eyes of his children look on with longing. He has made me a byword for nations. I have become the embodiment of hell to people. My eye has dimmed from anger. All my limbs have become like a shadow. Let the upright be appalled at this. Let the pure bestir themselves against the hypocrite. Let the righteous man hold fast to his path. Let the one with clean hands strengthen himself. Nevertheless, let them all reconsider. Come here, please, for I cannot find any wise man among you. My days have passed by. My thoughts, the legacies of my heart, have been cut down. They turn night into day. Daylight seems shortened before darkness. Since I crave that the grave be my home, I have made my bed in the darkness. I call out to the pit, you are my father, and to the maggots, my mother and sister. Where then is my hope? Who can discern my hope? Let my grave's limbs descend, that they might rest together upon the dust. Job 18. Bildad the Shuhite then spoke up and said, Until when? Put an end to words. First understand, and then we will talk. Why are we considered as a beast and obtuse in your eyes? You who tears yourself apart in your anger, will the earth be abandoned for your sake? Will the rock be dislodged from his place? Indeed, the light of the wicked flickers out. The sparks of his fire will not shine. Light becomes darkness in his tent. His lamp will flicker out in his presence. His powerful strides will be constrained. His schemes will throw him down. For he is sent by his own feet into a net. He walks upon a snare. A trap will seize him in the heel. Bloodthirsty men will overpower him. Hidden in the ground is his rope. His snare is on the path. Demons terrify him on all sides. They will beat him to the ground under his feet. His offspring will go hungry. Calamity awaits his wife. The prince of death will devour the limbs of his skin. He will devour his branches. He will be torn from his wife, who had depended on him. She will march him off to the king of demons. She will dwell in his tent without him. Sulfur will be strewn upon his home. From below, his roots will dry up, and from above, his sproutings will be lopped off. His memory will be lost from the land. He will remain without fame abroad. They will drive him from light to darkness and banish him from the inhabited world. He will have neither child nor grandchild among his people, no survivor in his habitations. The latter generations will be astounded at his fate, and the earlier generations will be seized by turmoil. Such is the fate of evildoers' dwellings. Such is a place that does not know God.